Hello, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Coach's Corner. I'm Mexi B, and I have Keely and Coach with me as usual. Tonight we also have a guest with us, Tidy. Everybody, welcome, Tidy.
Hold on. I'm slow on the where my we go.
With the soundboard.
That was very delayed.
For sure, for sure. Welcome. So we got the
All right,
OG, the
continue.
OG.
What'd you say?
I said you can continue. I hit all the buttons I could.
Oh, okay. Coach said something, but I couldn't hear him.
Oh, I was just saying that. Welcome to the OG. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for
So
Welcome,
having
Tidy.
me. Thank you.
yeah, welcome. So before we get into it, we do have Tidy here with us. We're gonna go ahead and start with a couple of questions that we ask everybody in our show. How did you become a Falcons fan?
Wow. I guess you could pretty much say all my life. Both my parents are Falcons fans, so as long as I can remember, I've been a Falcons fan, watching football with my dad. I can remember far as back as running backs like Gerald Riggs, Steve Broussard, and that's my favorite position on the field is the running back position. So I just remember being a young kid, watching the Falcons with him and always focusing on the running back position because, again, that's my favorite position. But to answer the question once again, my parents, they grew up Falcons fans, made me a Falcons fan. So I've been
Just
suffering in
always.
misery.
I feel that. So, who's your favorite Falcon fan or Falcon player of all time?
Roddy White, without a doubt.
Okay.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions for Tidy?
Tidy.
No.
Well, I'm gonna give Tidy the platform to tell the world why what he does and he built a very big platform with a lot of people who are connected together in this space. I want to give Tidy the platform to tell the all of our viewers about it.
All right. Well, that platform is Atlanta Bird Gang. It started off originally on Instagram around 2012, I think, maybe 2013, and it really just started off as a way to support the Falcons. To be honest, just like y'all diehard Falcons fans, so just a way to create some fan support for the Falcons. At that point in time, we had a young quarterback, and we had a newer era of Falcons players, and we had started winning. So I was really just trying to support the Falcons and posting Falcons pictures and my opinions on the game. And before I knew it, I turned around and it was 1,000 people had followed. Um, Continued that momentum, 5,000 people, and it just kept growing from there. And from Instagram, we went to Facebook and we created a Facebook group and a Facebook page, and that group eventually grew to pretty much the biggest and biggest Facebook group with the most engagement on Facebook. The page right now has about 34,000 followers on there, and it's just something that continued to grow, and here we are. So it's just pretty much a conglomerate of different social media platforms all combined into one. And I enjoy doing it for the most part. The moment I stop enjoying doing it, I'm done with it. I'll just walk away.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I actually joined that group in I think like 2018, maybe. So I've been a part of that group since 2018. That's how I met Coach.
Well, definitely hats off to you, brother. And for your hard work and getting it to where it is today. So Definitely
Thank
tip
you.
the cap to you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think that Facebook group probably the biggest Falcons group on social media. I would assume. I didn't see anything that was bigger than that.
Yeah,
Like at its peak, it was like well over 30,000.
Yeah, it was approaching 40,000, and then Facebook they dropped the hammer on us and they deleted the group, and we formed a new one, and I think that one right now is about 23,000. So
It did get
Yep.
kind of rowdy in there at times.
yeah, it was pretty rowdy in there.
I contributed to some of it. I was
For sure.
arranging meetups for people to meet certain people on certain. But yeah,
For sure. For sure.
Keely.
Hey.
you got it.
I would say this. Like I told you in the beginning, I had my opinions on Matt Ryan, and I was staying every single opinion. I would bag people who weren't happy, and so hey, it is what it is.
For sure. For sure.
That offer to meet up is it's an open invitation. All right. What's the
All
next
right, let's
topic?
jump into this week's game. The Falcons faced off San Francisco 49ers, and it was a roller coaster. We saw some highs, some lows, a few moments that, definitely had us holding our breath. What are your guys' takes on this? You want to go first, Tidy? Our guest?
Sure. I felt going into this game, it was going to be a difficult game for Atlanta to win. We had won the previous two games, and we had the big win against Buffalo, at home in Atlanta, and that game I'm sure was a very spirited and highly emotional game for the players. Although is only five or six games in. Monday night, and really most of the world expected us to lose, and we came out and played good football and we won that game. The point I'm trying to make is winning that type of game on the Monday night, having to get on a plane and go 5 hours out to the West Coast and play San Francisco. In San Francisco, I felt like the cards were stacked against us, and I don't want to say I felt like we would lose because I really was unsure, but I wasn't comfortable, and the Falcons has not showed me yet that they are a team that can actually travel well. And when I say travel well, I mean travel and play well. They really haven't shown that to me. And the most critical part of me thinking it would be a tough game is when I did a little bit of research and I realized what a different quarterback Michael Penix has been this year at home versus on the road. We're talking about a completion percentage on the road at about 54, 55% compared to
Nasty.
61, 62, 63 in the Benz at home. A quarterback rating at around 100, 101 in Atlanta at home. And again, 54, 55% on the road. So I felt like it would be tough. And, we unfortunately for us, we could not get out of there with the victory.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel that. What about you, Keely?
Ultimately, I feel like it. So last episode, I said I hope that they didn't get too high off of that victory. The whole world is telling you that, man, this is a team to look out for. So when you have a young team like that, sometimes you can kind of, believe your own hype. But I don't feel like the players were the ones that were susceptible to the hype. It seemed like the coaching was inconsistent. It seemed like we went from a very very imaginative play calling. Like both coordinators did amazing jobs against the Bills. Granted, I do feel like the Bills were primed for that, considering Josh didn't necessarily have the receiving help. So I that's why I made that prediction. But I feel like the players weren't the ones that that fell off on that Sunday night game. It was the coaching that was just dramatically inconsistent. Kudos to Saleh and Kyle. They did an amazing job. I mean, they're great coaches, I just feel like we got out coached. Of course, Bijan number one target on everybody's board. They took him off the board. They did a great job. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the same way in which they used him on the touchdown pass on the touchdown pass in which we did score. I feel like we could have kept using ways in order to get him the ball outside of simply just running it. I would have loved to see more of that. With that being said, it was still a winnable game. It was close. Some of the things that bothered me, I saw the post-game interview. I think the DB name is Lenore. So on that 4th and 1 play, in the post-game interview, Lenore said that he knew what was about to be ran. He said his quote was, "I can't believe they're about to try this on a 4th down." He said he knew it was a flat 7. And basically that should have been a pick 6 if he didn't drop it.
Yeah.
I just felt like the way Lenore made it sound was like the whole defense knew what was about to happen. And to me, that's disturbing on a 4th and 1 call. The second part that's disturbing about that is the guy that's supposedly the best player in the league per Raheem wasn't on the field at all. So something like that, I want the ball in his hands, or at least as a decoy, faking it like it's going to be in his hands. So it goes back to me to coaching, those type of decisions. And then, of course, on the same drive, you get a 12 man on the field. Also, 10 men on the field. Now, that play right there, to me, I went in the chat and said, that's the bad breaker right there. Once they got that with 3rd and 13. That's my takeaway. I mean, Penix obviously still has some development. We knew this. I mean, we saw the red flags. Not every quarterback coming out in the draft has red flags. Nobody's a perfect quarterback, but we knew that there would be a need for development. But to me, I just put this squarely on the coaches. They got out coached and they made mistakes that were very costly.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the play calling was terrible. What about you, Coach?
Boy. Well, first and foremost, let me say shout out to I'm wearing pink today for breast cancer awareness. So shout out to all the warriors out there in my life who have beat it, and shout out to anyone who can hear me, who has people in their family who has or even has not beat it, who has or has not beaten it. So kudos to you guys. Please stay strong. We love you all. But as far as the game goes, I just can't this year. I'm not upset at all whatsoever. We have a really young team. We're going to lose games like this. My only issue is I somewhat agree with Keely, is the inconsistencies in coaching. But also, like Tidy said, your number one player on the football field is not playing very well away from home. I don't know. I've raised this question up before, and I really want to know the answer. I don't know if it is something my brother Tidy has said has started to resonate with me, and this game was a glaring high beam light to the face to show me exactly what he was saying. So, but I don't know what it is. So if you looked at this game or any other game, you guys would notice Michael Penix doesn't throw in the middle of the field. Like, all his throws are to the outsides. So with that being said, I don't know if we're giving Zach the incorrect smoke, and he's just calling the game because he doesn't necessarily trust Penix, because I can't fathom OC not calling any plays to the middle of the field. I'm
Especially
sure
with
there's a
Warner gone, with Fred Warner gone.
You know, like I mean, and even the commentators were saying the middle of the field is wide open. Penix just does not throw it there. But on top of that, so is it because like Zach doesn't trust him because he know he doesn't have touch? And if you bullet a pass in the middle of the field, the slightest touch, whatever that anybody does can make that pop up. And if it's in the middle of the field, I mean, that's almost guaranteed pick. So I don't know if,
Right.
you know, what Toddy said is starting to make sense to me, that maybe Zach might not trust him, or it has to be something. I don't know what it is, but it has to be something to where you literally, like, he stays. You would think the middle of the field is radioactive. Like, he makes a decision not to throw in the middle of the field. So I don't know if it's that or what it is. I'm starting to wonder, you know, back to the game. So the defense did good. I think. I mean, it's hard to stop the greats. You know, the great players are gonna make great plays. CMC is a great player. You're not gonna necessarily shut him down. The reason Bijan got shut down is because it's the Atlanta it's the Atlanta Bijans. It's not the Atlanta Falcons. Like, he is literally the end all and be all to our team. So I mean, you stack up the box, it's going to be pretty easy to stop him. So I think moving forward, you know, family, we just got to prepare ourselves. It's going to be more games like this. I think our next game is going to be rough. I think our next 6 games are going to be extremely rough. Because we have a young team, and with young team comes wishy-washy, in and out. So I'm not upset with the game. It's a lot of things, you know. I have more questions than answers after this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and land the plane there. I got more questions than answers after this game.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, coach, you mentioned, you know, the defense being good. That actually brings us to our next topic, which is my favorite topic of the show, the good, bad, and the ugly. We need the I forget where the sound effects are, but
Soundboard, yeah. The sound guy, he doesn't
yeah.
block his pay, you know, he's not getting his paycheck this week.
I'm gonna actually go first. I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. My good for this week is the defense. I feel like even though the circumstances, they still did well. The bad, I would say, still Penix. He has a lot of inconsistency issues. I feel like he plays well every other game, and then like every other game is like bad. I don't know if he needs like 2 weeks of like resting or what, but and then the bad or the ugly for me would be, I would say, the turnovers. Like, that was just like a momentum killer. It just, and then obviously the bad call play, like, I don't know. It just, but we should have kicked the ball. I think it was like what when
On the 4th and
we
1 when we didn't kick.
yeah, we should have definitely kicked the ball there. It would have been a lot easier to catch up.
It would have tied the
But
game up.
yeah, and we didn't do that. So definitely that's the ugly for me. So what about you, Keely?
Good. I'm gonna spare Kyle Pitts. I'm gonna throw him a line. It was good to see a Kyle Pitts performance. So I will give him good. The caveat to that, though, however, I was watching Penix in the post-game interview, and they were talking about they had to challenge him this week, leading up to this game, and that stuck with me, and that annoyed the mess out of me. Because you're in a contract, you need to be challenged. Talking about he's stacking up good weeks, and it's like,
Can't beat the ball today. There's gonna be a lot of that.
It's his favorite sound.
because beginning of the training camp, this is what I heard.
There's gonna be a lot of that.
Gonna be a lot of that. And now I'm hearing in the post game interview, oh, we're challenging him. Why does he need to be challenged? He in a contract. Why does he need to be challenged? Why it shouldn't even take a contract? But however, I was expecting a lot of that. We got some of it against San Francisco. So I'm happy for that. B, coaching, I would just say that for bad, I would say coaching. I think honestly, even with the coaching mistakes, if we weren't coaching against San Francisco, we probably still win that game. The game was still close. And there's context within that because I put like this. I said early on, Jalen is important to this defense, and he didn't play. And then the second, I think probably the most important person on this defense is Diablo, and he didn't play. He got hurt. So with that being said, the fact that this game was still winnable, and they probably win that if they're not coaching against who I think are superior coaches in Shanahan and Saleh. They had a great game plan. The ugly, I would say, is JD Bertrand. That is such a drop off from Diablo to Bertrand, and watch him on the field. That's ugly. And I know that Diablo is gonna miss some time. That hurts.
Yes, it does.
I don't want to see Bertrand on the field. It doesn't look good to me. And that's my ugly.
Okay. So what about you, Coach? What's your GBU of the week?
So my good would go to Keely. Kind of hit all mine. I was giving my good to Kyle Pitts. Unlike a lot of our fans, I think Kyle Pitts is a product of bad football. I think Kyle Pitts on any other team will be a breakout star like Brock Bowers. But the Falcons.
You believe that for real?
I do. Because
Okay.
when we decide to actually go to him, the man plays good. You know what I mean? Like you can't if you don't get the ball. What can you? He's a dependent.
But why? But
position.
you got a unicorn. Why wouldn't the quarterbacks use them? You had a 12-year vet who had a unicorn and decided that he'd rather not use them, and then you got this guy who started in the beginning of the year like it's gonna be a lot of that, and he's not using it. Why do you think they make those choices not to use a unicorn?
I don't know. I think it's the play calling.
Yeah,
Or it could be the common
my
denominator.
ugly.
Nah, I wouldn't say that because
Okay.
when Kirk
I mean,
Cousins
it's been
last
4 or 5 years now. Okay, I hear you.
Kirk Cousins last year said, well, I mean, his first year he had a breakout season with a good quarterback. Then
He
he
was the
had
only
two
receiver worth
trash.
throwing to.
Then he
Him and
had two
CP.
trash years, and then last year, Kirk Cousins, when he said that he took it upon himself to get Kyle Pitts involved in the game. Every time he did that, the man had breakout games. So, back to the good GBU.
He lost his job.
I think he did all right. As far as I mean, he really was the only person on the team who did much of anything. The bad, I'm going to go with MPJ, and not that the bad for that is he just played bad. I think what I see in MPJ is the same things I seen in the national championship game, and I've started to notice that. And I think teams are starting to notice that. You put pressure on that man, he kind of shrivels up. Right? You put pressure on him, it's like it frazzles him, and it's like he can't calm down. It's like his motor starts running high,
And I feel like he goes backwards like way too far too. Like I've been watching that.
yeah,
He just keeps like it goes back. Like
He
what are you
has
doing?
terrible footwork and technique, and who's coaching that though? Like,
but yeah, that's a thing. Like you have, but I think we're gonna get into it later, but I think Michael Penix actually should be on the bench. I think he still needs more work. Is he a great player? Yeah, but I think he needs more work to be NFL ready. I don't think he's NFL ready from what I see on the field. And then the ugly is the defense without Diablo and James Pierce. Like it is like that wide open tackle Helms missed is that as a guy who is a football coach, that I was ready to throw my TV out the window. You didn't even get juked, dude. Like you just simply dove and missed a wide open like that was just a wow. So so that him trash, Bertrand trash, like it's just if we can get our defense healthy and all our starters, there'll be a problem. But that's my GPU for the week.
Tidy, let me say that because it seemed like the spirit moved you for a second, but you held back. Feel free to jump in whenever you feel like it. I saw he said a certain thing and you start to move though. So feel free to jump in.
Gotcha.
Well, it's your turn now, Tidy.
All right, so my GBU, my good, bad, and ugly. I guess fortunately and unfortunately, my good is y'all's good. You know, I really want it to be something unique, and everybody have the same good. So I guess that means that was really good. But obviously that would be Kyle Pitts. For us, I think he did a real good job against San Francisco. About 7 catches, 7 receptions, about 61, 62 yards. So I like what I saw from Kyle. And one thing I am noticing from Kyle, he's not putting up, the huge gaudy stats. But I'm seeing a noticeable difference in how he's moving. I said it early in the week. He appears to me to be in better shape. And not that I thought he was not in shape any other year, but he just seems quicker this year. He seems a lot more shifty. He seems more nimble on his feet, and he showcased that also Sunday. So seems more engaged also, and you could possibly attribute that to a contract year. I know I would seem more engaged if I had a chance to make 12, 13 million more dollars than I currently make.
Quick question: do you think we pay him?
If I had to make the decision right now today, I would pay him. I would pay him as long as he's not asking for astronomical, make me the highest paid tight end money. If he's okay with being around the 4th, 3rd highest paid tight end, I would pay him. I would definitely pay him. And the reason I say that, the reason I say that because I'm going with the idea that Penix will be the future. Who knows? But I want my quarterback to build and develop chemistry with the same pass catchers. I feel the same about Drake. There's been a little debate. Well, do you pay Drake 30, 31 million a year? Yeah, you do. I would pay Drake as well. And Kyle still is only 25 years old. I would definitely pay him. And I would try to make a point to make him a bigger part of the offense also. So I do pay him. So he would be my good. The bad for this game, that's a lot to choose from. Yeah, that's a lot to choose from. The bad is going to be only having 62 total rushing yards.
18 attempts.
Right. I think we average about 2.9 yards per rushing attempt, and that's terrible. And this was coming from a team who has built up a reputation, even going back to the Arthur Smith days of, hey, Atlanta can run the ball. They're a great running team. They're a great run blocking team. It's only 62 total yards are rushing. And there have been times this season and in the past years that 62 yards, man, we're going to knock that out in the drive. So to only have 62 and 4 quarters is like whatever San Francisco did defensively, they took us out of our game. You know,
I got another question for you.
go ahead.
Do you think we gave up on the run too soon?
Yeah, I think we saw the fact that it wasn't very efficient for us, and I think we abandoned it too soon. I also think Zach Robinson probably looked at the fact that, like, man, they are really kicking our ass in these trenches. And they really were. I do got to give San Francisco
They
credit.
blitzed the run. They blitzed the run.
Yeah, they were. That's the first time this year that I've seen our offensive line really just get manhandled. They got manhandled, run blocking and pass blocking, and this was the first time I really said to myself, okay, we really miss Caleb McGarry today, because of he was he's an all right pass blocker, but running blocking, he's one of the better right tackles in the league at run blocking. We just couldn't do nothing. So that would be my bad. My ugly is gonna kind of coincide with my bad. That was, hey man, you only put 10 points on the scoreboard. And going into this game, as y'all, all three of y'all know, that's been one of the talking points, the Falcons fan base. I don't know if the national media has talked as much about it, which they're probably going to start doing now, but you only scored 10 points. And this is what, about 2 games prior, Carolina, you score 0 points. And, a few weeks later, less than a month later, you go to San Francisco and you only score 10 points. And there are some heavy hitters on that offense. You got, and then the entire national media had been singing Bijan praises. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Hey, the next Barry Sanders, the Michael Jordan of the NFL, he's the best player in the NFL. And then you come out there and you only get 10 points. So to me, that was ugly. I don't feel like after putting a donut up against Carolina just a few weeks ago, that game against San Francisco on Sunday night was the time to only put up 10 points. That was highly disappointing to me.
The number 2 offense.
Number 2 offense. Correct. Absolutely correct.
Is it still the number 2 offense?
That's what it was. Now it's dropped.
I think there may be 7 now. Yeah, I think
7
so.
now.
Okay.
All right, Deb, on you.
Yeah. Well, we actually.
That'll be the ugly.
What'd you say?
I said your husband better be on that ugly list, or at least the bad list.
I already gave mine.
Oh, okay.
He'll never be in
I feel
my.
like Drake held his own though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
didn't
just.
do anything. That's all.
Well,
Hold
I
on, this
mean,
can't be right.
look who
Oh,
was
no.
throwing the ball. Don't come for my man.
Yeah, we're 7th in offense, but in scoring, we're 32,
Almost last.
28th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Way down there.
28th in
Wow.
scoring.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Wild stat that on 929 a game, we're 28th in red zone efficiency as well. So basically, we're exactly what I beefed with all the Ryan Knights about all the years, where we throw for a lot of yards, but when we get into the red zone, we don't score.
That's why
The ghost of Matt Ryan follows me my whole life.
That's why I never care about it. I think ranking a team based on yards is just the dumbest, idiotic thing to do. I think there's logic to it. It's just not the most. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to, but
I get why they're trying to isolate, because it's a team game. So both sides of the ball affect each other. Every phase affects the other. However, they're trying to find a way to isolate, just measure that one side of the ball. However, to me, it doesn't tell the whole picture, because all of those components go up to points. All of them describe how you got your points total. So like the time in the pocket, rushing yards, passing, all that stuff determines, they're all indicators to how you have as many points as you have. So that's why I did it.
Right. But at the end of the day, the name of the game is to score or not to score. So if you score a lot of points, that should make you high ranking offense. If you don't allow a lot of points, that should make you a high ranking defense. This yard crap is just crap to me. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, so let's get back to our next topic. Actually, Tidy mentioned in his good, looking at MP9 as the future. um, is he the future for the Falcons, you think?
We'll let the guest go first.
All right, that's a great question. I must be honest. I don't know at this point. I don't know. I think he's had like 9 starts. There have been some games that he has looked like, hey man, this guy might be the Falcons version of Mahomes. Like, man, look at this guy's arm, look at his poise in the pocket. There's just been times that he has shown flashes of just being a brilliant quarterback. Once he's had enough, years under his belt to mature and settle himself in. I have seen that. There's also been some instances where he just doesn't look the part. And then, when I see the times when he doesn't look the part, that's when I have to remind myself, well, Toddy, it's only been like 9 games, bro. 8, 5, 6, 7 games. You got to be patient with this guy. So if he's the future, I can't tell at this particular time. There are some things about his game so far after 9 starts that I really love. I love how he gets the ball off quick. He gets that out of his hand quick, very quick release. And there are some parts of his game where it just looks like his motor skills. It seems like he has slow motor skills at times. Like sometimes he has trouble putting 3 times 9 plus 2, in his head. And I'm not trying to be funny here, y'all family. So I'm gonna say it. And I'm nitpicking. I'm gonna go ahead and say this early. I'm nitpicking, but even when I hear him talk, sometimes it's just like, did you get that degree?
But he kind of sounds like freaking Raheem.
Well, he been in school for like 5, 6 years.
That's what I'm saying. And it's just be like, well, I'm just digging too deep into the situation. But I really don't know. I hope he is. I pray he is, because
He has to be.
he has to be. If he isn't, man, this franchise is gonna be set back another at least 2, possibly 3 years, and that could knock us down 5 more years. We gotta go through this whole process of finding a quarterback again. And it's, I don't know. Like that's my final answer. I don't know.
Real quick, because I'm gonna ask everybody this. So your soliloquy just added in. Do you think he should be starting right now? Or do you think he needs more time?
Let me answer that real quick. I actually was gonna do a show on this, but I'll go ahead and say it right now. In hindsight, and I'm speaking in hindsight, I have the luxury of seeing the Falcons play 6 games so far. But in hindsight, there should have been a quarterback competition going into camp. There should have been a quarterback competition, and I'll tell you why. And again, I'm speaking on hindsight. But if the general manager and the head coach, hey, we cool keeping Kirk Cousins. Hey, we'll pay the $30 million. We'll pay the roster bonus. Hey, we cool. We already done gave him the guaranteed money. Hey, big dog, yeah, get comfortable. You're gonna be in Atlanta another year. That's not what they said, but that is what they said. Mm-hmm. So if that was your attitude, why just automatically shove him to the end of the bench? If he's gonna be here, you're going to pay him. At least let him compete. Even if your bias says, we need to go ahead and start the Penix train. For the sake of competition, make it a competition. At least give Kirk the opportunity. And if he was truly hurt and now he's healthy, that will translate in the competition. Because last year, when he was quote unquote healthy, hey man, Kirk had some great games. He had some games, that Philly game, that Tampa game. I don't think a young Penix could have won those games, but Kirk's, 12, 13 years in the league, that propelled him to make plays in key moments to help us get big victories. So there
Mhm.
should have been a competition. And then another element to that is like, because Raheem is very big on, well, my starters don't play in the preseason and blah 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 blah. My starters don't play in the preseason, which, as y'all know, I don't really have a problem with it. But if they did make it a competition in camp for the quarterback, now both of them got to play in preseason. And I don't know if that's a conundrum or a situation that Raheem wanted to broach. I'm saying this, but I got both of my quarterbacks out there throwing the football all 3 preseason games. But again, if you're gonna pay Kurt, he gonna be here. Hey, get a guy an opportunity to win the game. Theoretically, y'all didn't want to play. You really didn't want to play Penix anyway. In year 2. So I think they should have let it been a competition. Again, I'm speaking in hindsight, but I think the smart thing would have been have a competition in camp, even if you wanted Penix to win, even if you want to handicap Penix, like, look, we're gonna give you a little bump. If it's close, you're gonna win. But if Kurt got out there in camp and he's throwing that ball, hey man, give him another shot. It's not like you to put a rift in the locker room if you'd have let Kirk still start. If he'd have won the competition in camp, there's no rift. I don't feel like Penix would have felt any kind of way. But now, if Penix doesn't play well and you go back to Kirk, now Penix probably does feel some kind of way. But that's my opinion on it.
I agree that there should have been a competition and stuff. I think it should have been last year. I think it should have just. I feel like you should always foster competition at every position all the time. I mean, but I think it should have been last year. And my whole frustration has been with this whole quote unquote rebuild since it started with Arthur Smith has been the indecisiveness. It's when you commit to neither one, like we're going to try to compete to make the playoffs, but at the same time, we're going to try to reset the organization and rebuild. You're trying to drive left and drive right, and you just go nowhere. And you get there very slowly in that manner. So we don't know if we want to. The best thing when you have a young quarterback is get him over that learning development. Like, and the only thing that can do that is experience.
Right. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say the same exact thing.
Like with Matt Ryan, go ahead, throw him in it. Like last year, this year could have been last year. Theoretically for Penix, if we committed to one direction, or if you commit to the other direction, then Kirk would be starting this year. Like I just feel like the indecisiveness is why we're always stuck in mud, and I feel in a perfect world, we would have just, and I understand that they jumped on Penix late in the process after the commitment to Kirk. But in the perfect world, we would have, hey, I think we got a shot at Penix. We're going to commit to him. We're going to commit to his development. And the more snaps he plays, the more he's going to learn. And I think we will be better off into deciding if he's that guy or not at this point. He just, to me, for someone who hasn't played the game, you need reps. That's how you develop. And the whole preseason thing, I get it. If you're Matt and Julio and y'all are both 8-year vets, whatever the case, at that point, yeah, I get it. But quarterbacks that need to develop and need, symmetry with the receivers and whatnot, they need as many reps as possible. That's my opinion. But to the overarching question, what the Magic 8-Ball say? Reply hazy, try again. It's just not a big enough sample size, I guess. It doesn't look promising because you will hope to see flashes by them. Because so in theory, on this side end of the spectrum, there's the Mahomes who sat for 14 games and then played just the final 3 of that rookie year, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I see it. Which is pretty much what Penix did. He sat itself for the final 3. And clearly we're not on the Mahomes trajectory at this point. So our hope is that he's on the Josh Allen trajectory, because it did take Josh Allen a little while And that's the hope.
Baker
Um,
Mayfield.
but I will say
Oh,
this though, in terms of development, just in comparison to because the Ritter stuff. I'm sorry, I'm filtering myself. The Ritter shit annoyed the shit out of me because you had fans talking about, hey, you gotta let him develop. You gotta let him develop.
No.
And I'm willing to let someone who has obvious arm talent develop because clearly we see the arm talent and development. I'm willing to wait on that part, but when people talk about waiting on Ritter to develop, when I've seen like we don't see the obvious arm talent, we don't see the physical gifts, the tangibles. That was madness, but at least I think that's what we have. We know that the kid has a cannon, he can make every single throw, so we can rest on that. We know he can make all the throws. But it's just a matter of development. And I brought this up being just as a caveat when I remember seeing his draft profile, and I was like, bro, the NFL evaluate him at a lower score than Will Levis. Will Levis had a higher score coming into the draft. So we had to moderate our expectations. Like, with that being said, it has to be because that window. I would say, like Coach said, within the next 2 years. No, I think this team will be ready for a deep playoff run next year, pending Penix development.
Yep.
So I think it has to be because as an organization, y'all signed a quarterback to a very expensive contract, and in a very controversial manner, y'all also drafted a quarterback top 8. So if anything, if both you strike it on both, it looks very incompetent. Like you look very incompetent as an organization. If you paid Kirk that amount of money, got nothing out of it, and you drafted this kid top 10, got nothing out of it. Like we look terrible at that point, so it has to work.
Yeah.
Right. Before I go, Keelan, real quick, I just got an alert on my phone. I don't know who it was, or because I ain't gonna pull it up while we talking. It said somebody was traded. It came from a Falcon content creator. So while I'm talking, if you can just kindly Google that and see if it's actually in fact somebody from the Falcons traded. So for me, I what both of you guys said are how I feel. As Tidy would know, and I think Keely, you were on the shows as well. Most of the people know I was absolutely dead set against drafting Michael Penix. I said for sure that he was in the list. I was like, that is the one I don't want the Falcons to draft, solely because of his injury history, and then the few things that they pointed out, pre-draft. But here's my problem. Like you said, Keely, I knew from the moment Desmond Ritter got in the game, he was going to be trash. Like I didn't need a whole season to see it. I seen it in those 3 games that he played, his first 3 games. I knew he was ass. With Penix, I knew he was ass
at Cincinnati.
Right. Well, I didn't see him at Cincinnati. But with Penix, I can see it. The problem is, and I hate to keep harkening back to it, but the problem is for me is coaching. It's like if the combine tells you that Penix has issues with the intermediary and touch passes, and then in year 2 he started and he still has problems with the intermediary and touch passes, that is a failure in coaching. Like, should he be 100% doing it? No, but you should see some form of progression, and you're not seeing that. Like, the pass he missed last year in the Tampa Bay game is the same pass he missed last week. You know what I mean? Like, it's just no growth, and it is not. Let me be clear, people. It is not. I don't think it's Michael Penix's fault. I think it's solely coaches failing him. can he be the future? I think he can be, and this is coming from someone who never wanted him. I think he can be, but something has to change. Something has to change. But at the same time, I don't want a carousel of coaches, coordinators coming in here because that's going to stunt his growth as well. I see the hidden. I mean, not the hidden, the natural talent he has, and he has talent. But I think, like y'all said, that just for competition, I think he needs to go back on the bench. I think he needs to learn more. I get what you're saying, Keely, but look at a player like old boy in Carolina. If he had the luxury of sitting behind an actual quarterback or a good quarterback, I think that boy would be a lot better than what he is. Now what they're doing to that kid is, in my opinion, they're tearing his confidence up. Like, I mean, you know, you can see it. Like, it's just a carousel. He's so up and down.
I think that's out the window though. Like, Penix's not going to the bench. Kirk is gone next year. He's on another team.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I don't want that to happen to Penix, because he's out there so early and he's getting trashed and he's getting thrashed, and you know, because the fans love him now. But when you continue to play like this, they will turn on you very, very quickly.
Yeah.
He might get a little bit of more grace because of what he looks like, but the fans will turn on him quick if he don't get it together. And then
I think that actually probably works against him.
Nah, hell nah, bro. Hell nah. That works.
Think about the previous guy that looked like him.
Hell, exactly.
No, for a second. I was here. Hear what I'm saying. When the other guy that looked like him, when he didn't have a good game, like, yeah, it got like, remember the incident when he was flipping off a fan and all of it? Like, they were on his head.
Oh yes, I didn't live there. I didn't see that. All I see was
you remember when he got in trouble for flipping off the fan after the fan used certain language with him? Tidy.
Yeah, it was some Saints fans.
You sure it was some Saints fans?
Yeah, it was some Saints fans.
I thought it was a Falcon fan that did that, to my recollection.
No. Per Vic himself, they were Saints fans.
Oh, okay.
Based on what he said.
But yeah, I know that there were games where he didn't play well, and I saw where he got ripped.
But bro, let me tell you how I'm not saying you're wrong, but this is what I'm saying. Till this day, you have riders still riding for him. Like, he came in here and wanted.
But I think it falls along a certain obvious line, though. It's more. I think there's more of people who look like us that romanticize or how he played.
But that's what I'm saying. But
we're not the only ones in this fan base. That's what I'm saying. We're not the only ones that attend games. That's what I'm saying. I get that. Without trying to be too blatant, I do think the Vic, and that's what made the whole why the other guy has to be mentioned every single time. The Vic guy has to be mentioned because one side of the fence believes one is underappreciated, and then the other side feels like the other guy is underappreciated, and it tends to fall along certain lines. Which, I mean, I'm generalizing. Right. Yeah, I'm generalizing.
I get what you.
One side of the fence with the other.
Right, but this is what I'm saying. The Falcons is an Atlanta-based team, which is majority of one sect of people. So what I'm saying is,
real quick though, before you keep going, I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. So, Tidy, when you go to the games, what if you had to assign a percentage, 40, 60, 50, 50, 70, 30, what would you say?
I would say 60-40 black majority.
Yeah. Of course, I would say 55-45. What I'm saying is like Atlanta has a certain reputation, but I'm just saying that in terms of at the game, it's not like, I think when people think about Atlanta, when it's Black Mecca, they picture it as 80% somewhere in that kind of outlandish number. But
Yeah, no.
but at the
always
games,
nice.
it's a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, but so I just think he'll be best served. Like Tidy said, I think it might quite possibly be a little bit too late now, because then you're gonna have a media frenzy. You're gonna have to explain it to AB. I mean, it's just it's at this point, like you said, Keely, he has to be.
Can't put
So
the toothpaste back in the
um,
tube.
yeah, he has to be, because if I'm AB and you come to me and you tell me that you benching Penix for Kurt again, I'm gonna look at you
Bro,
like,
imagine
bro,
how that conversation would be with Blank if.
I
Yeah.
mean,
man,
this
I
would
was,
be the week though, because I guess he's like injured, so this will be the week to like
yeah,
Well, it didn't
try
help
it
because Penix
out,
already
you
said
know?
Penix already had camp. He's spoken publicly saying, "What's his exact quote? That he feels good enough to play." Like
Yeah.
that was his quote. So if that was the plan, he shouldn't have said that publicly.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, feeling good.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
plan to
because
play. I plan to
yeah,
play.
yeah.
I feel
So
like a
I
lot of
mean,
his pressure that he feels when he's playing badly is also like pleasing the fans. He's not really like focused. So yeah, I feel like once he sees the defense coming and he's like worried about everything else, I think he definitely needs more practice. I think this would have been a good week to try Kirk out, use the injury as an excuse, but I guess we'll just have to see how the next game
They should have
goes.
faked another injury report like they did last year.
Yeah.
Well, let's not do that
We'll
again.
hell no.
but anyway, moving on to the next topic, guys. We have a lot to talk about. We're already at almost an hour over here. So I feel like at every game there's like a specific play that just turns or shifts everything. Based on this game, like was there a play or a drive that completely changed everything for you? Tidy.
Yes, it definitely was. It was the second drive of the game for Atlanta. We methodically moved down the field. I mean, when I say methodically, we were kind of at one point looking like the 2012 Falcons at one point. 2011. When you got Michael Turner, Roddy, Matt, Tony. I mean, everything was just going. I mean, there were not big plays, but it was just like, we're about to put this on you. We gonna do it slow and steady. We go take y'all heart and just rip it to pieces and stomp on it. We're gonna do this all game long, moving the chains, moving the chains, moving the chains. And I'm sitting here watching, like, man, this probably gonna be a good game for us, man. Look at this long drive. It ended up being, and this is why I say this was the game-changing drive, because I set it up like it was some momentous, and it was the biggest disappointing drive. Well, one of the biggest disappointments for me, because it ended up being a 19-play drive. I forget the yardage. It might have been 60 or 80 yardage, but it took about 11 minutes off the game clock. I mean, that's essentially for the almost an entire quarter, you had the football, and we only got 3 points out of it. To me, that was a loss for Atlanta's offense and a huge, huge, huge win for San Francisco's defense. And I think the game flipped from that point going forward, because we actually had the momentum that drive. And once we didn't score an actual touchdown and we had to settle for 3, you saw the energy on San Francisco's sideline. You even saw Kyle Shanahan get a little sparky. He barely even moved. You saw Robert Saleh all hyped, and I felt like their players fed off that, and they fed off the energy that came from their fans. So to me, that drive really changed the complexity of the game.
I got
Mhm.
2, and I can't decide between the 2. One was a linchpin where it just started going downhill, and the other one pissed me off. The 10-second runoff going into the half that pissed me off. Games, man, like they come down to like so many decisions. Like those little things add up. Like it goes back to the Bills game where the decision to make, and I'm not mad at Drake for taking a stab at that play, but those are the decision between winning and losing. Like that's how close these games are in the NFL. So a play like that in such a tight game where you didn't get outside the pocket and you try to throw it away, and is that
Right.
I'll put it like
Okay.
this. I'll give him credit because he's starting to take some accountability with things, even things that not necessarily his fault. He was like, "Yo, that's on me." I appreciate that from him. He's not as confrontational sometimes in those press conferences. Like before the guy asked, he was like, "Hey, just ask me the question." So that
Yeah,
play
that-
it just seemed like.
that's just-
Go ahead.
Right. I was
Okay.
just gonna say, yeah, that just I don't like that. Like, yeah, that's you said you appreciate that. I don't like it. Like to tell me it's on me that there's 10 people out on the field. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course it's on you. Like that's
Well,
a
I mean,
dumbass
but there-
response. Of course
but-
it's on you.
But there are people who will delegate blame, put it on something else. I appreciate. I will give Raw his credit that he does say, "No, it falls on my lap." Do we hear it too much? Probably. But I gotta call spade a spade. I give him credit when he deserves credit. Like he take accountability. I like people who take accountability.
True.
And
But they have to take accountability and change, not
And
take
change
accountability every time.
I would say this. Like he's a CEO basically, and sometimes as a CEO or as a boss, you can't in the moment you can't stop everything your employees may do, but you can put things in place to prevent it from happening again. And so I'm looking at it from that lens. I'm pretty sure he gives his coordinators a lot of bandwidth. I'm pretty sure he tries to manage from a high level. That's my assumption based upon what I've seen. So it reminds me of the same bandwidth that Quinn gave Shanahan. Like, hey, this is your side of the ball. I'm gonna let you run it, right? And that's the lens I'm kind of looking at it through. This is just through putting pieces from interviews together while I'm assuming this. I don't know this to be a fact that he manages from that high level, but this is just putting different clues together. So I think it is his responsibility to put parameters in place to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen again. But I'm saying this from a standpoint of I'm assuming that he gives his coordinators some type of autonomy to be who they are. So that's why I'm saying that I'm impressed by that. So I agree, it shouldn't happen again. And I can't think of too many instances where we had a 12 man on the field, 10 men on the field in the same drive or stuff like that. So I can't say it's a repeated occurrence.
And even on that, Keely, he took full responsibility for the 10 men being on the field, although of course I don't know how the Falcons operate, but traditionally, I mean, Coach, you can attest to this or say no, you're wrong, but traditionally the linebacker traditionally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9. And then defensive coordinator, he's supposed to be the second count guy. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Normally that's not the head coach's responsibility. That falls below him, but Raheem, that's on me. I take full accountability for that.
And to my point, once it happens, it's his job to put something in place to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But I mean, to my understanding, this hasn't been a repeated problem. This isn't something this isn't like the third occurrence where we were like, oh dang, they done got caught with 10 players on the field. So from that standpoint, I give him credit for jumping on, which he should as a head coach. Ultimately, everything falls on him.
Yeah, you gotta jump in front of the sword.
Yeah, but I think that 4th and 1 to me, because everything just seemed like all the coaches lost their damn mind after that. Like everything, we just kind of shitted our pants after that 4th and 1. Like it could have been a field goal tie game. We're gonna rely on our defense. I think that would have been the prudent play, but I think some coaches get aggressive on the road. Like, hey, we don't have the benefit of the home crowd, so we're gonna be aggressive. I just think that was in a close game in which you're only down by 3. I think the play would have been to kick at that time, but that was the play that for me.
For me, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I think it was. I don't know if it was the first drive or the second drive, but it was very early into the game when Michael Penix fumbled the ball.
Yes,
I think,
that was mine. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think once that happened, like
It was like
he was no good. Yeah, he was no good the rest of the game. Like I think I think that's probably where they made the decision. Okay, we might have to pass this. Like I think they can tell when he gets frazzled or whatever it is that happens to him. And they were like, okay, we may have to go a whole nother route because it just genuinely seemed like, okay, we was chugging, and then that happened, and then just like snowball stuff after the other. So that was my play. And was that the first or second drive? It was very early on in the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly where it was. But yeah, whenever that happened, that was it.
Yeah, that was it for me too. I think the fumble for sure. After that, he was just kind of like, oh man. And then everything was like, he was just too nervous after that. Everybody was like getting to him.
Yeah.
For sure. But anyway, let's get on to our next topic.
Well, which is somewhat irrelevant now because we're no longer number 1. The Cleveland Browns have assumed the new number 1 defense in the league. The reason it was an argument is because I noticed that they had disagreed. Well, and I guess because me and both coach are somewhat on the same page. When you were on the eye test, I saw that Tidy disagree with your stance of
strongly disagree.
Yeah, with the stance.
Disagree.
Yeah. So I was hoping that we would still have the number 1 defense to broach this subject a third time. But unfortunately, Cleveland has dethroned us as the best team to defend yardage. But if y'all want to go ahead and if you want to voice why you disagree with our stance that points ultimately the only thing that matter, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Now I do agree. Points are the only thing that matters, but I think you got to put everything in their proper context. And they call it total defense for a reason. They call it scoring defense for a reason. They call it scoring offense for a reason. Just to make it somewhat short and sweet, why I strongly disagree, because they're ranking the defense on things that the defense can control. The offense cannot give up any yards. Statistically, the offense can't give up yards. The defense, based on how the game is designed, they're the only people that can give up yards. Even special teams. For special teams, they call those return yards. So they don't count that against the defense. The point I'm trying to make is when you look at that ranking and you start to put points in there, believe it or not, you're starting to penalize the defense for things that are beyond their control. And we had a perfect example. Let's play like these games didn't happen this past weekend. And we're still the number 1 defense in the NFL. There was only 4 quarterbacks who had a pick 6 going into last week's game. And guess who were one of those? The Falcons. So we're almost penalizing Atlanta for the offense giving up points. And that's something that the defense can't control.
Important consideration, because I did look this up. Pick sixes don't count against aren't considered in points allowed.
So they don't consider pick sixes.
No, they don't. So when Penix throw that interception against the Panthers, that's not calculated in points allowed against the defense.
Okay. Now, if that's the case, then that changes pretty much my entire argument to a certain extent. To a certain extent. Because you still are kind of penalizing defenses for things that are not in their control.
What are the other things that they're penalized for?
Going back to that Carolina game, man, that was probably the worst that our special teams have played in probably some years. So if the special teams continue to allow these guys to start on the short field, they're getting the ball at the 50, they're getting the ball at the 46, they're getting the ball at the 38. Yeah, the defense, you probably are gonna surrender 6 points here and there, or 3 points here and there. And there's no context in that number if you're totally looking at it, from that lens. And I think that's why they call everything what they call it, total defense.
But I mean, that
Or
also
defense.
plays a role in influencing the total defense numbers, because if special teams drops the ball and on average you only have to defend 60 yards of grass versus you got a good kicker and you got to defend 80. I mean, that also manipulates the numbers. Like I think it's hard in general to detach any other phase of the team from another, because all three work together. I think it's hard to detach because, for example, traditionally, a good defense is usually attached to a good rushing offense. So, like when you look at the 85 Bears, you got Walter Payton. When you got the 2000 Ravens, you got Jamal Lewis. So when we look like a functional defense, we had Michael Turner. So usually, it kind of gives the illusion a good running game gives the illusion they have a good defense, because while the running back is on the field eating up by the clock, the defense is not getting torched because they're on the sideline. They're sitting there chilling while your running back is eating up the clock. So I think it's hard to detach, and I think that's why the logic of total yardage comes into play, is because they're trying to, like you said, isolate and only account for what the defense is actually responsible for.
Right.
But you can't do that, because even in that example with special teams, it still plays a part, because your average starting position is determined by how good of your kick return team is. Like how many yards of blades of grass you got to defend is literally determined by how good of a special teams unit you have. So I look at it like this. The reason when you look at some of the greatest defenses in history, right? The 2021 Bulldogs, I remember the Bleacher Report ranked them as the most dominant defense in college football in the last 20 years. And they're not number one in terms of total yardage. So you had a team, hold on, I can look it up. The 2021 Georgia Bulldogs, one of the greatest defenses in college football history, was the second best defense that year to Wisconsin. Wisconsin did not have a better defense than Georgia Bulldogs, but in terms of total yardage, defensive yardage allowed, Wisconsin was the number one defense.
Well, to me, that's a little different, because college and based on who you're playing, and NFL, everybody kind of playing like the same teams. For the most part.
Okay, so let's go to the NFL. The 2000 Ravens, arguably one of the greatest defense in NFL history. They weren't number one that year. Tennessee Titans were in total yardage.
And so see this is where I come in with it.
Well, hold on real quick. Let me just make this final point before you, because I think the reason is, so I look at it like foundational issue and symptoms and indicators, right? So like if you go to the doctor and you got heart problems and you got swollen feet, right? One is probably going to solve the other, but it doesn't work the other way around. So like you treat your foot, it's probably not going to solve your heart issues. But if you solve the heart issues, it's probably going to solve your swollen feet, because one is a symptom of the other, but the one can't help the other. So from a foundational standpoint, the objective of football is to score points and prevent the other team from scoring. All the other stats under it, and this is how I see it, it tells you how well you did. So like, if you're only averaging 16 points a game in offense, and then you check your blood pressure or whatever, sticking with the medical example, and you average 150 yards a game, you top 10 in rushing, well, that's not your issue. That's not why you got 16 points. You check your time in the pocket or your offensive line, they're not the issue. You're top 10 in that. And then you look at the passing yardage over here, you broke your ankle, you check those numbers and you're averaging 80. Oh, that's the problem. You got Desmond Ridder as your quarterback. That's why you're averaging 16. So the stats are indicators to tell you why. So I just think from a fundamental standpoint, points is the fundamental basis of everything, but the stats just gives you the indicator as to why that you have these numbers or whatnot. But that's my standpoint, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's about scoring points and stopping people from scoring. So, but go ahead, Coach.
I was just gonna say, flip it around. If Michael Penix went out there and was scoring, I mean, it was throwing the ball for 700 yards a game, but we not scoring. Like, would you say that's the number one offense, Tiny? Like, let's say he goes out all this year, he averages 600 yards throwing the ball, but we're averaging like 12 points a game. Would you consider that the number one offense?
Well, Coach, honestly, just as a caveat, we're not that far from that scenario now. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in total yardage. So technically, we're the 7th best offense, but we're 28th in scoring. So that's pretty much the circumstance as it is right now.
Right. But what would you consider that, Tony? Would you consider that like a top tier offense? Like, he's legitimately throwing the ball 600 yards a game. Like, that's, dope. Okay, great. But we're not scoring. Would you consider that a top tier offense?
No, I wouldn't consider that a top tier offense. But statistically speaking, they may be a top 5 total offense yards, because that's just how they configure it.
Right.
And then,
I get that.
And then you'll have your scoring offense, and that's a whole different line of statistics in itself.
Right. And I get that. But that's my point. Overall, as a whole, I think the NFL needs to go away with yardage being the measurement of success for a team, because again, you can throw 4, 5, 6, 700 yards and still lose, or not score a damn point. You know what I mean? Like, it's for me, if my defense, now I said this, I believe we have a top 10 defense, because at the time when we were ranked number 1, I think you told me we were 7th in scoring. And I'm like, okay, well, to me, that's where our defense is. And when you look at us on the field, we look like a 7th ranked defense. Like, we're not very good at stopping the run. We're very good at stopping the pass, but we're not very good at stopping the run. And I get it. The offense has to help the defense. Like what Keely said, it has to coincide. You can't expect your defense to hold in the NFL. You can't expect your defense to hold every team to less than 20 points if the offense ain't, if the offense can't move the ball, the defense is continuously out there. I get that. I get if the defense is working at the 30-yard line versus working at their 30-yard line versus working at the opponent's 30-yard line. I get that plays a part in the defense. But if the scoring, that's how you lose, is to score. So if teams are continuously putting 30 points on us, which I think in 5 games, only 2 have not been over 20 points. Is it 2? Yeah.
I mean, I agree to it.
10.
I don't think you can. The only part I disagree with you is saying get rid of the total yard. I just think we just have to adjust how we look at it. Like they're trying to isolate the best stat that shows just the performance of the defense, but you can't subtract all the other influences that plays a role in that. But I think we just have to adjust how we look at it because, for example, like statistically, we're 7th in scoring, but the other context is that we're 28th in the red zone. So that needs to also be paired with the fact that we're 7th in total yardage. Like all of those things have to be considered because all of those influence your point total. All of them work up and are indicators of the overarching line of points. So when people just look at the yardage but don't look at all the other things, I mean, like that's a huge stat. 28th in red zone efficiency. When you're bottom of the league in red zone efficiency, but you're 7th in yardage, I mean, that tells you a lot, and you can't ignore those stats.
Right.
All right.
So
I will say this, Keely. I did the math, and on what I'm seeing, they do include pick sixes in the total scoring defense.
Hold on.
Looking at, because we've given up 120 points, and that's what so that would be an average of 20 points per game, and that's what they have on there. I got this from Pro Football Statistics and also ESPN.com. NFL, how they have their stats set up is kind of funny.
So it says, so I just typed in, do pick sixes included in points allowed for NFL defensive scoring? And it says no.
But just do the math. Do the math real quick, because that's what I've been seeing.
I mean, I'll put it like this. I can, and I can come back. I remember I did the math last year because I remember we were talking about the scoring totals, and I remember the New Orleans game at home where the offense didn't score a point, where the defense scored and this and that, and when the defense scored, those points weren't computed in the offensive scoring numbers. So I know that they do pull them because when I did the math in terms of last year's offense, those numbers weren't included. But I can do the math again.
Yeah, they definitely got them in here because we got 23 points for Tampa.
So
then we
got 20 with Tampa because we lost. So that's 20.
No, Tampa scored 23.
I know. Oh, you're talking about the defense at this point. All right. Right. I'm thinking about offense. 23.
And Minnesota 6. Carolina 30. Washington 27. Buffalo 14. And of course, San Fran with 20. That should give you 120 if I did my math right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure pick sixes go with the defense, not against the defense. So, like, if Atlanta gets a pick six, that helps Atlanta. I don't think I'm confused as to what y'all are debating on when it comes to that.
He's talking about points given up, and that pick six that he threw should not have been included. So I'm fit to sit here and see what they have.
Yeah, but points given up never goes against what? How does a pick six?
They
points
do
given up.
Like that pick six that Penix threw against Carolina, that is being considered as a defensive stat in regards to points surrendered by the defense. Because now because
Carolina scored.
Right, because now they have our average at 20 points per game that the defense gives up. I wish I could show it on my phone, but y'all never be able to see it.
Okay.
Maybe you can.
I think
now.
Yeah,
I will say that in the calculation on ESPN, it does say that we're averaging right at 20 but when I look at the rules, it says pick six are not included in points allowed for NFL defensive scoring because they are a result of an offensive team turnover.
Yeah, and my favorite stat site to go to is Pro Football Statistics, and they got it at 20 also.
Yeah.
So that's really, that was really my main reason why I understand like how they kind of separate those statistically, because even when we lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl that year, if y'all remember, they kept talking about how excellent that defense was, but they'd always say the Patriots had the number one scoring defense. They would never say the number one defense. They'd always say the number one scoring defense. If y'all remember the narrative around that game.
Right, which I'm cool with that being like because I mean if you fumbles, return for a touchdown, pick sixes, that is a stat. But I think the overall rankings of a team should be like if you want to put it as a pyramid, it should be points, and then everything should go under that. How much yardage you give up, yada yada yada, all that should average up plus the points. Like to say you're a number one defense based on yardage alone, to me is just crazy. And
So I would
do.
say this. I'm digging on Reddit. I'm about to check the other sites. Someone on Reddit asked, do they count the turnovers like pick six? And they made a distinction. One of these comments said they do on ESPN, but not on the NFL. So I didn't know that they differ in how they calculate, but I'm going to.
And that's what I was saying with the NFL. I've been on their site and I don't know. They have their stats set up like funky. I guess that's why nobody don't really go to the NFL for stats.
Hold on, I'm about to.
Because I can't really find it.
I'm on the NFL site now. Defense. It is kind of funky how they got this because they got passing defense, scoring. Yeah, it's real funky how they got it. Like in terms of total defensive stats, I'll have to do some more research because for some reason. So when I Googled it, it said the NFL does not count it. In the NFL, that those statistically they don't count pick sixes in terms of defensive scoring. Now, when I go to this site, it's saying there's a distinction between how the ESPN does it and how the NFL does it. Mm-hmm. And then when I go to the NFL site, I'm like the way they have this bracketed. Maybe I can share my screen. Hold on.
They don't really break that down where you can look at it. It's almost like they want to look at next generation stats.
Can y'all see?
No, it's not showing yet.
Well, we'll go back to. But the way they have it, well, I mean, Tyler, you're on the NFL site as well, right? So,
yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, so the way it is, like they have it bracketed by defensive, passing, rushing, receiving, scoring. But when you go to scoring, like it doesn't do a per game average,
right? So
I would say this. Right now, the argument is inconclusive because we don't have it. So we're both right. We'll call it a draw.
Yeah, we'll say even.
Yeah, I was gonna say which one's the right one then.
I mean, I would say I would venture to guess that 99% of NFL fans are probably clicking on ESPN for their statistical information. And based upon what Tidy just found, which is very correct, they include it on ESPN. When I looked up whether or not it's included, it said it's not included in the NFL accounting of stats. So, and I have no way of seeing on the NFL site in which they account for stats. I don't see how they have it bracketed.
But I mean, either way, to me, there either way, there is a stat for Well,
I mean, I
hey,
think it's a moot argument because Toddy agreed that ultimately the only thing that matters is points. And I get his argument as well. I think we're really in agreement. I mean, it. I think ultimately the only thing that matters is points. I just think that it's hard to isolate and evaluate
Everything
just the
else.
job that the defense has done because everything influences every side of the ball. So I
which
understand
is why
why they do it
points
that
should
way.
be key, because that's the end
Um,
all be all. That's the end.
but no, that was
That
a
to me,
good catch by Tidy because ESPN does do it that way, and that's pretty much I would say 99% of us. That's what we go to for when we're looking up stats. It's ESPN. So
All
all
right,
right.
guys. Well, moving on to
the last topic.
the last topic of the night. What adjustments do you think the Falcons need to make to make it to the playoffs?
Whew, the playoffs. Oh, jeez.
Man, if they
I'll
lose
take
this Sunday, it
some.
might not be a playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm gonna go first. I'm with you, Kelly. I think this game right here is the end all be all, especially if Carolina wins. Because yeah, they have 2 games up on us,
Why you sound
and
flabbergasted?
yeah, because it's
He's been stressing for a while.
it's crazy. Adjustments. I mean, honestly, I don't think there are no adjustments that can be made. Zach is Zach. You can't fire him because if you fire him, who's going to take over? So you're stuck with him for the rest of the year. He's not. You're not going to switch up and put Kirk Cousins in because then Arthur Blank is going to look at you like you're effing retarded, and the fan base will too. I mean, that will rile the fan base up like no other. Um, I mean, I don't think there are many adjustments you can make. I think you really just got to ride with the girl you brought to the dance. Maybe try and pass. I don't know. I don't. My answer is I don't think there are any adjustments you can make. That's my
I'll go
answer.
second and let the guest go last. Um, I think you have to stick to the plan of getting Bijan the ball. You just have to find more creative ways to get him the ball. I don't think you have a lot of options, but I think that is the option. If you can't run between the tackles, then you got Chip Kelly that thing like bubble screen, slants. You're gonna have to just get him the ball. Just find different ways to get him the ball. Because there's not a lot of wiggle room for a lot of it. You can't make Penix fast forward, 20 games of experience. So you just got to find new creative ways. And that's kind of one of the issues that I had with that last game was that, okay, running between the tackles didn't work. All right, so bubble screen, slant, just find new ways to get him the ball. And the one alternative way that you got Bijan the ball, it resulted in a touchdown. Like, so just find new ways to get him the ball because ultimately you gotta dance with the what's the saying? You gotta dance with the chick you came in with, whatever.
That you brought to the party.
Yeah, that's what you got to do the rest of the way. And I think we got 11 games left by my count. I think you need 10 wins, and you got to find 7 out the last 11. Because if that wild card gonna be tough, especially if Carolina keep winning.
Yeah.
But you still got one. You got one more game against Carolina at home. So that's the adjustment.
Coach.
You're gonna have to just find new creative ways to get Bijan the ball.
All right, and for me, mine pretty much coincide with what you're saying, Keely, is for me, it's actually putting points on the board on the offense. Like, I don't know what's that gonna take, and that's why I say it coincide with what you're saying, because I've been a big proponent of, hey man, Bijan is clearly the most talented person on this team, especially offensively. So you got to get in the ball. You know, if they done stunted the running lanes and we can't run like what we saw in San Francisco, like, hey man, you better figure out the screen. You better throw some screen, bubble screens, slip screens. Look at some of that old Sean Payton tape when he was in New Orleans, how he used to run them screens, and get him the ball. And I do understand the argument that some will have, or you know, when they say we're gonna run Bijan in the ground, but it's either that or don't score. You know, and I hate it's like that, but until the quarterback gets the needed experience to get him to the next level of his progression, you're gonna have to lean on clearly your most talented player, one of the most talented players in the NFL, in order to put points on the board. Next year, you know, and hopefully Penix takes another step or two, and you know, you maybe don't have to lean on Bijan as much as you got to. But for right now, man, like you gotta get number 7 the ball. You know, you gotta get number 7 the ball, and you gotta put points on the scoreboard. And I will say this, also going back to something you just said, Keely, you said I think you just said we got to win at least 7 out of the next 11 to get the wild card to have 10 wins, if I heard you correctly.
I think 10. Now, Rod did miss the playoff with a 10-win team before, but I think you need at minimum 10 if you want a shot at the wild card.
Yeah, and what I'm going to say about that, and I know Coach going to disagree. You might disagree too, Keely. Deb, you may disagree as well, but I feel like if this team wins 10 games and misses the playoffs, you bring the entire coach a step back.
Hell no. Hell no.
I think you have to.
You bring the entire step back. Now, if they
have to,
if Zach Robinson take another job, that's on him. But you bring that entire step back, and you continue to build.
because everything is hinging on, I think, 2026, and you set yourself back if you bring in a whole new coaching staff. So as long as there's not a step backwards, I think you have to bring Raheem back.
Yeah, Raheem
Like,
gonna be here.
if you plan on
regardless.
making a run in 2026, you praying that one, you're banking that, you know, your boy MP9 take a step forward, and you need consistency. You can't have a new voice and a whole new system for him to learn.
Nah, hell no. Hell no. No, sir. Mm-mm.
Coach ain't trying to hear none of that.
Hell no. Nope. He got to go. This is last year. Rod gonna be back because you still paying FedEx Jr. I think his last year is this year. I think his money come off the books next year. And AB ain't gonna fire one coach, quit paying one coach that don't work for him to fire another and have to pay him and then hire another coach. I don't think AB about that. So Rod gonna be here at least, unless we completely fall off the cliff.
Bruh, if the wheels fall off,
yeah, like I said, 0-6, yeah, he'll fire.
no,
But
I say if we have 8 wins or less, like another losing, what would that be, 8 or 9, 8 consecutive at that point?
he ain't gonna fire him, bro. Mm-mm. I don't think he'll fire him.
That'll be 8
'Cause
consecutive.
again, he's still paying Arthur Smith, and I'm pretty sure because this is year 5, and his contract was for 5 years. So this is year 5. So after this year, his money be off the books, and then you have fired Raheem, so you're gonna pay another coach that ain't working.
We may be a poverty franchise for real.
We are. It's not no maybe. We are.
We're what I thought the Jags were like years ago in the Bengals, bro.
Yeah. But yeah. So last thing we got.
Yeah, let's look ahead at the Miami Dolphins versus Falcons. What do you guys think? I know we every episode we write down your predictions. We didn't even go over the last game's predictions because they were all wrong.
Yeah, they were. I think Kiwi said like 3 touchdowns or some shit.
All
Like,
right. 3 sacks, he said.
I was trolling, bro. Yeah, I did say
Oh.
3. No, I thought I said 2, but I don't know.
No, I have it all written down here. You said
Okay,
3.
I said 3.
Okay. Well,
I ain't know
honorable-
Diablo was gonna go down. That's the asterisk.
For me, I think 2 things have to happen. I think you have to either score 30 points or dominate. I mean, extremely dominate on offense in order. And again, in order for Zach to keep his job. But again, I understand you can't fire him because who is going to take over his job. But if neither of those things happen, we don't score 30 points and we don't dominate the Dolphins, one of the worst teams in the league. Because you can get by with the Panthers because, I mean, clearly they're good. They're better than what we thought. You can
They're
get
better
by
coach.
with, huh?
I said I think they're better coach. I don't know if they're more talented than we are, but
Well, no, I ain't saying talented, but I said, well, if I said talented, I misspoke.
no, you didn't
They-
say that. I'm
better.
just saying.
Oh, okay.
You just said better.
They're a better team than what we thought they were because they're stacking up wins now. And then the 49ers is, I mean, that's a championship franchise. So I mean, you could never count them out, even if they are injured. They wasn't the 49ers, they were the IRs this week because their whole team was on injury reserve and we still lost. But anyway, I think this is a must win because if you don't win this, let's say you lose this, you have the Colts who are playing lights out right now. You have the Patriots who are playing lights out right now. You have Carolina coming up after that. And I know this may be out of order, but you got Carolina who is playing really good. You have the Saints, which we all know, regardless of if the Saints are asshole garbage, which they are this year, they always play us tough. We always play them tough. So you can never count that, regardless of who's playing. So I mean, you're in a stretch of games that I'm under the impression this is a must win because after this, you have no idea what's going on. I mean, it's literally a crapshoot. Every game is a crapshoot, but this one, you're playing some good teams coming up. That's what I'm gonna say about that. So the keys to victory, like y'all been saying, I don't even think it's Bijan, to be honest with you. I think the key to victory is spreading the ball. I think that is our problem. We're too stagnant. We're too stuck on Bijan. I hate to bring his name up because some people hate this dude, but when this dude was the MVP of the league, he spread the ball to 13 different people, got a touchdown. You know what I mean?
Shanahan?
That is Shanahan didn't throw a single pass. But anyway, moving on. That is the way you win. Spread the ball, spread the love. You know,
The Shanahan way.
So
I mean, I've been saying that for a few weeks now. We need to use all of our players. I feel like it's just like every play is like Bijan.
Well, we still
That's
not
why
playing
let's-
home though. Like
we're not the Falcons, we the Atlanta Bijans. Like, I mean, there's everything hinges on him.
I would say this to that. If I got Bo Jackson on my team, like he's definitely gonna get the ball way more than everybody else. Like if Barry Sanders is on my team, if 2012 Adrian Peterson is on my team, what was it, 13 or 12? I don't remember what year. If it's him on my team, he's getting the ball way more than everybody else. Like that's just
of course. But even your great running backs, even the one that he prides himself after, LT, they spread the ball. Like no team just puts all their stock.
what LT? We're talking about 2006 LT.
Any LT, they still spread the ball.
Some of the same
Like,
LT that put up quarterback numbers. They had like
Correct.
30 some
they
TD.
still
Who else
spread
touched the ball besides him that year?
Whoever else was on his team. I don't remember who was on his team. I don't remember
Bro,
who
that man scored 3 different. That man threw touchdowns, caught touchdowns, ran touchdowns.
I'll just say this:
Wait, let me finish what I'm saying.
the team we just lost to, coach, they beat us with the same strategy that you're saying to go away from. Christian McCaffrey.
Right, but they don't do that week in and week out. That's what I'm saying. They don't do that week in, week
Bruh,
out.
if I got
We do
Kobe on
that.
my team, I'm not passing to Smush Parker.
We do that week in and week out. That's all I'm saying. Well, I mean, you don't have to. Our results speak for themselves. 3-3, and we, So there's that. That's my thoughts for the Birds Dolphins. It's a must-win game.
All right, I'll go next. I'm about to surprise y'all, but even though this is the home game, right, Keelan?
It is.
All right. Even though we are at home, I think Miami's gonna come out and kind of punch us in the face early. I think the first half gonna be full of Falcons fans turmoil, a lot of cussing, a lot of alcohol, or whatever else you'd like to indulge in. I just feel like that first half is gonna be closer than we would like it to be, or than that we have envisioned it could be. I think once we come out of halftime, Atlanta will start to separate itself and start to put more points on the board, and our defense will find their role and their space in the game. Without Divine Diablo, that, in my opinion, is a very critical blow to this team, namely this defense. I just hope we can keep our head above water, because that guy was playing some great football for us. Michael Penix will be at home. We talked about earlier, he's night and day at the Benz and away from the Benz. So he's back at the Benz, so and that's his comfort zone. And I think he will bounce back and have a fairly good game, a pretty good game. But I think after possibly going into halftime 14-14, I think Atlanta will turn the turbos on and win the game 27-17. They'll have a much better second half, and the defense will find themselves, and we'll win the game by 10 points. So that's my score prediction: 27-17 Atlanta.
Still not cracking the 30. Okay.
Dale, you see Wallace comment, the sack total?
Mm-hmm.
All right, mark me down for 4, but if I don't get it, that was Wallace who predicted it. Okay?
We'll blame him.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it like that. They at home. I just tried to take a look to see if Jalen was playing. They say he missed another day of practice. I think he's the unsung hero. Like, for his rookie, he do so many things that don't show up in the box score, man. Just
He do.
he's an edge setter, man. He gets pressures, man. That young boy, he's gonna be very, very, very important.
Yes, good tackler.
Yes, he's a very, very, very important guy, and I hope we use him correctly, because Kirby had him all over the field. He didn't just use him on the edge.
Who you talking about, Jalen?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't sound like that. Jalen, I put like this. I don't know what channel did. He keeps showing the all 22. And I have to find the name of that channel, but he shows like Pierce and he shows like Jalen and the work, and like from the all 22, like the work they putting in.
Yeah.
Man, like when you cut on the all 22 and look at the tape, what Jalen doing? Hey, like I said, the sack, you don't see it in the box score because he's not getting them to the ground. But like when your boy Josh Allen has to be flushed out the pocket and he can't go through his reads and he has to run left and then run out of bounds, like that's a turnover on downs right there. Like that's not gonna show up on the box score, but that happened because Jalen Walker made a play. So I'm gonna say this: you got my Wallace number, so you got me down for that. This is gonna be a win, because just my luck, Raw gonna do whatever it takes to not lose his job. So, like whenever I want a quarterback gone, they just find ways to keep lingering. So, Raw gonna keep his job, because I think that would start the hot seat. Theoretically, that would start the talk if you lose to the Dolphins. I think we're gonna go ahead and get our future offensive coordinator fired. Send him to the unemployment line so we can pick him up in the offseason. We're gonna start negotiations under the table. Tell them, hey, we got you at the end of the year. Come on home.
For sure. I will take him in a heartbeat over this garbage.
Yeah, and he gonna show up in his khakis, his capris, and but we're gonna start him to the unemployment line, and we're gonna win. Bijan likes to play at home. I'm gonna give him. What are we looking at? Throw out a number for me, Dale.
Give you a number
Yeah, give me a score. Just one.
for like Falcons or
But don't worry about it. 35-24.
You got us throw 35.
you said what?
Shootout.
35?
Damn.
We're gonna have a bounce back.
You said 35 what? 24?
Yeah, Raw right now he's getting in. Hey, he was like, y'all embarrass me on national TV. He's making them run wind sprints right now as we speak. Y'all think they went home. Like they're right now, they're still at Flower Branch running right now.
They need to
Bro,
be.
they sitting in a circle singing.
The league had
Kumbaya.
banned 2 a days. Guess what? They doing 3 a days right now. Raw like, hey, y'all trying to send me to the unemployment line. He got Ulbrich running. Hey, Ulbrich is running too. Jeff is running too. All on running. Right
So,
now.
after this game, coach, you think we're gonna have number 1 defense again?
Good question.
I mean, we're playing the Dolphins, so
Not if JD is Bertrand is.
I don't even think it matters, bro. Waddle's not there. Tyreek is he still there? No, he's not
No,
there.
he's hurt.
I think he going for the
he's
year, I
hurt.
think.
Yeah, so they ain't got nothing but Tua. So yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
Oh, we tapping.
they'll
And
be-
no disrespect, but we tapping to it.
Yeah, no. I mean,
That's
I'm
where
not
that
saying
Wallace
to
number come
disrespect
from.
the
Thank you, Wallace,
Dolphins.
for that number. That's where they coming
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, so not to disrespect them, but yeah, we'll probably get the number 1 spot back because they are the only team worse than them is the Jets. So
Okay. All right. Well, I got you all down. You didn't give me your score prediction though, coach.
He said a lot to a little. And they're
I'm
right.
sorry. What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
What was
What'd you say?
your prediction? Your score prediction?
Score prediction? I said we got to dominate completely on offense. So I mean, at least 32. At least 32.
Okay, so he riding with me. I said 35. He got
Yeah, you sounded surprised.
Yeah, I need Deb's husband to show up this game. You know
Ow.
what
He always wants to go after my man.
I'm saying? I need him to show up.
Hey,
this
he shows up, the other person needs to show up too.
Hey,
day.
I don't,
Made that
I don't
completion.
understand the doubt in my guy because Drake shows up. Drake
Right.
plays.
But I mean, he just
Drake is the last person I'm worried about showing up on game day.
an unpopular opinion, because I haven't heard anybody say this, so it's definitely an unpopular opinion. I'm actually a little sad that we lost Ray Ray because at least last year, I know he hasn't done much this year. Last year, whenever we needed something, it wasn't Drake who did it. It wasn't Kyle Pitts who did it. It wasn't Bijan who did it. Every time we needed something, it was Ray Ray who came through.
Well, let me while we have Mr. Bird Gang on the show. So, have you heard anything confirming the rumors about Ray Ray that he was upset about losing his position coach?
I reached out to my inside guy, and he said, and I asked him directly, what reason did he get cut? He just told me real quickly, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think no one knows. I think they're keeping that close to the vest.
The rumor was, the relationship with Ike Hilliard, because he was saying that Ike Hilliard basically was, the reason for his production last year and whatnot. But
That's what I've heard too.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
I read something, but I don't know how true it is. But I read something about he was mad that they started Penix instead of Cousins. Like he was not happy with Penix.
I mean,
But
that could be,
I read that
Kevin-
somewhere.
I mean, that could be something too, because he was getting more production last year with Kirk than he was this year with Penix. So, I mean, who knows?
Lot
Like I
more.
said, for me, it's a I'm loyal to the logo, but every time we needed something last year, Ray did come through. So I'm not gonna lie and say, I'm
Shoot, as a
dancing
third receiving option, like that ain't bad. Like he as a, you don't want him as your 1 or 2, but as a third option,
Yeah, he had a career year with like about 62 receptions, almost 700 yards.
Yeah, every game we needed the score at the what was that, the Tampa Bay overtime game, the Washington game, even though we ended up losing it, like every time we had to have something, Ray has came through every time. So it's somber. I mean, it ain't somber because again, I'm loyal to
no,
the
I was
logo,
just saying, I like
but
Ray. So it is
yeah,
kind of
but
somber.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
He
whatever.
was solid. He was a solid player for us, man.
I think so.
But he's not
So-
my Drake London with this Fantastic Four elastic abilities. You know, his arm.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
Alright, fellas.
that's going to wrap up today's episode, guys. Big thanks to our guest, Tidy. Thank you for
Tidy, give us
coming and
Tidy,
hanging
you
out
want to
with
take
us.
an opportunity to give out your socials, give out all your information real quick?
Yeah. First off, y'all, thank y'all for having me. I really do appreciate it. Everybody can find me anywhere on social media at Atlanta Bird Gang. Outside of TikTok, I just don't understand it yet, but hopefully soon. And once again, y'all, I really appreciate y'all having me here. Had a bunch of fun.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you so
coming.
much
And
for
you're welcome back
coming.
anytime.
Thank
Make
you.
sure that everybody follows Tidy and also the Coach's Corner. If you enjoyed our show tonight, next week we're gonna be facing the Dolphins, and we'll be back here on Wednesday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, to discuss the game. So everybody have a great night.
All right.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.